You think you are strong because you keep showing up. You think discipline means always being available, always replying fast, always explaining yourself. But listen closely, that is not strength, that is training. Somewhere along the way, you were trained to be predictable, and predictable men are easy to control. Look at your daily life. At work, you share an idea in a meeting. A louder voice repeats it 10 minutes later and takes the credit. You notice it, but you stay quiet. You tell yourself it's not worth the conflict. In relationships, someone cancels on you at the last minute again. You smile and say it's fine. Inside, it's not fine, but you swallow it. With friends or family, they call you when they need something. Time, money, emotional support. You say yes, even when you are tired, even when you had other plans, because saying no feels wrong. It feels selfish. It feels dangerous, and you can't quite explain why, but people keep pushing you. They test you. They delay replies to see if you will chase. They ask for favors with short notice to see if you will drop everything. They interrupt you when you speak. They feel comfortable taking from you, and the worst part is this. You feel it happening, but you don't know how to stop it without becoming someone you don't recognize. Here is the truth no one said out loud. You were not raised to be powerful. You were raised to be useful. Useful to your parents, useful to your teachers, useful to your boss, useful to society. You were rewarded for obedience, politeness, and compliance. You were taught to explain yourself, to smooth things over, to avoid tension. You were trained to be agreeable, not dangerous, and that training still runs you. 500 years ago, a man named Niccolo Machiavelli looked at human behavior without romance and without illusion. He did not write about how people should behave. He wrote about how they actually behave when power, fear, and advantage are involved. He understood something that still applies to your life today. People do not respect intentions. They respect strength, boundaries, and consequences. When those are missing, control appears. If you understand these Machiavellian rules, no one can use you again. Not because you become cruel, but because you become unreadable. Not because you dominate everyone, but because you stop being an easy target. In this video, you are going to learn the laws that shift you from prey to strategist. These truths will change how you speak, how you react, how you decide. They will make manipulators uncomfortable. They will make users back off. And they will give you something most men never develop: inner leverage. Be warned, many people click away from this kind of truth. It attacks the identity they built around being nice, loyal, and easy to deal with. It forces responsibility. If you stay until the end, it means you are serious about understanding power as it really works. Put your phone face down for a moment and just listen. If this hits you, write "I am the strategist" once in the comments, just to mark the day your mindset changed. Now let's break down the truths you were never taught. First, you need to understand that being liked is not the same as being respected. You were taught to chase approval. At work, you want your boss to like you. In relationships, you want your partner to feel comfortable. With friends, you want to be seen as easygoing. But Machiavelli saw this clearly. He said it is safer to be respected than loved, because love is fragile. It disappears the moment it becomes inconvenient. Think about how people treat you when you are always agreeable. They feel free to push your limits. They ask more. They give less. They don't worry about losing you because you never show that your presence has conditions. When someone knows you will still show up no matter how they act, they stop valuing your presence. This does not mean you become rude or cold. It means you stop trading your self-respect for approval. When someone interrupts you, you don't rush to squeeze your words in. You pause, you look at them, you continue when they stop. That pause is power. When someone jokes at your expense, you don't laugh along to keep the mood light. You let the silence do the work. Silence forces awareness. Machiavelli understood that people test to see what they can get away with. Tests are not personal, they are structural. When you fail a test by over-explaining or pleasing, you invite the next one. When you pass by holding your ground calmly, tests decrease, respect replaces curiosity. Another truth is that speed is weakness when others control the tempo. Notice how often you are rushed. I need an answer now. Just tell me quickly. Why are you taking so long to reply? Urgency is a tool. It forces emotional decisions. Machiavelli knew that the one who controls timing controls outcomes. When you answer immediately every time, you show that your time is open and your mind is available. This makes you predictable. Predictability is comfortable for others and dangerous for you. Manipulators love fast reactions because reactions bypass strategy. The power shift is simple, but uncomfortable at first. Delay your responses, not as a game, but as a rule. When someone pressures you for a decision, say, "I'll think about it," and then stop talking. No explanation, no apology. That sentence alone changes the dynamic. It signals that your choices are not made under pressure. You will notice something interesting. People either respect the delay or they reveal themselves. Those who are trying to rush you for their benefit will push harder. That is information. Those who respect you will adjust. Machiavelli would call this sorting allies from opportunists. A third truth is that over-explaining kills authority. You explain because you want to be understood. You want to seem fair. You want to avoid being seen as selfish or cold. But every extra explanation lowers your position. It tells people you need their approval. Machiavelli observed that leaders who justify themselves too much lose credibility. In simple terms, the more you talk to defend your choices, the more people feel entitled to judge them. When you say no and then add a long story, you turn a decision into a debate. Imagine a simple moment. Someone asks for your weekend time. You say no and give 3 reasons. Now they attack the reasons. If one reason collapses, they push again. If you say, "I can't," and stop, there is nothing to negotiate. The discomfort you feel is the withdrawal of validation. That discomfort is the price of authority. This does not mean you become silent in all things. It means you choose where words add value. Speak when it moves you forward. Stay quiet when it protects your position. Machiavelli was not obsessed with talking. He was obsessed with outcomes. Another law you must understand is that availability signals value. You were taught that being available means being kind. Always answering, always helping, always being there. But in power dynamics, constant availability lowers perceived value. Rare things are valued. Common things are consumed. Notice how people treat those who are always busy with purpose. They schedule, they plan, they don't apologize for having a life. Their time feels expensive. When you drop everything for everyone, your time feels cheap, even if your intentions are good. The shift here is not cruelty. It is structure. You don't answer every call immediately. You don't rearrange your schedule for last-minute requests. When someone cancels on you without respect, you don't chase to reschedule. You let space do the talking. Machiavelli understood that absence can be more powerful than presence when presence is taken for granted. Another uncomfortable truth is that emotional reactions are leverage against you. When you get visibly upset, defensive, or eager to fix things, people learn where to push. They learn what buttons move you. Machiavelli believed that showing too much emotion makes you vulnerable in political games. The same applies to everyday life. This does not mean suppressing emotions forever. It means choosing when and where to show them. In negotiations, in conflict, in moments of power testing, calm is armor. When someone tries to provoke you and you remain steady, they lose control of the interaction. They wanted a reaction, they wanted movement, you gave them nothing. Practice this in small ways. When criticized unfairly, don't rush to defend, say, "I hear you," and pause. When someone tries to guilt you, don't argue the guilt. State your decision and move on. Calm repetition beats emotional debate. Another law Machiavelli understood is that people respect consistency, not promises. You may promise loyalty, effort, and honesty, but people believe what they see repeated. If you say you have boundaries but break them every time pressure appears, your words mean nothing. Consistency is built through small, boring actions, saying no and sticking to it, believing when disrespected, not rewarding bad behavior with attention. Over time, this creates a reputation, and reputation in Machiavellian terms is power stored in other people's minds. Finally, you must accept this truth. Power is always present even when you deny it. You might say, "I don't want power, I just want peace." But power decides who gets peace and who gets used. When you avoid power, someone else fills the gap. Machiavelli did not say this to encourage evil. He said it to wake people up. In modern life, power shows up in who sets the rules, who speaks last, who decides timing, who feels free to leave. When you understand these dynamics, you stop being confused by behavior. You stop taking things personally. You start seeing patterns. You realize that many conflicts were never about emotions. They were about leverage, and once you see that, you can choose differently. Now, take a step back and look at what all of this means together. If you ignore these truths, nothing dramatic happens at once. Instead, your life stays slightly off. You keep feeling tired in your interactions. You keep wondering why respect never fully arrives. You remain readable. People know how to push you, rush you, and guilt you. You stay emotionally reactive, always explaining, always adjusting. But if you apply these truths, something shifts quietly. You become harder to predict. People become cautious around you in a good way. They think before asking. They respect your time. Tests drop, not because you fought them, but because you passed them early. You feel calmer because you are no longer chasing approval or fixing every tension. This is not about being cruel. It is about becoming hard to manipulate. This is not about playing games. It is about understanding the game that was always there. Machiavelli was not teaching evil. He was describing reality. The same reality you live in now, just with different costumes. When you integrate this mindset, you stop needing to prove yourself. You stop talking so much. You start listening more. You choose when to engage and when to withdraw. That is strategic living. That is masculine calm, and it changes how you see yourself. You begin to respect yourself because your actions align with your boundaries. And when you respect yourself, others follow naturally. As we close, remember what you learned. Being liked is fragile. Respect lasts. Speed favors the manipulator. Delay favors the strategist. Over-explaining invites judgment. Silence holds position. Availability lowers value. Structure raises it. Emotional reactions give leverage. Calm takes it back. Consistency builds reputation. And power exists whether you want it or not. Your challenge is simple. Pick one truth that hit you the hardest and apply it today. Not tomorrow, today. One delayed response, one calm no, one moment of silence instead of explanation. Watch what happens. If this opened your eyes, you already know what to do. Stay with content that sharpens you, not comforts you. And if this hit you, write "I am the strategist" once in the comments. just to mark the day your mindset changed. You don't stop being tested just because you understand these laws. Understanding only removes confusion. Application is what changes your position. From this point on, life will feel different, not louder. Quieter, more controlled. You will notice pauses where there used to be reactions, space where there used to be pressure, and in that space, you will feel something unfamiliar at first: responsibility. When you stop being easy to control, you also lose the comfort of being led. Many men secretly rely on external pressure to decide for them. Deadlines, demands, expectations, emotional cues. When those lose power over you, you must choose deliberately. That is where most people retreat. They say they want power, but what they really want is relief. Machiavelli understood that power demands clarity, and clarity is heavy. You will begin to notice how often people try to outsource their discomfort to you. They rush because they don't want to think. They demand answers because uncertainty makes them anxious. They push boundaries because your boundaries force them to confront their own limits. When you stop absorbing this, they feel exposed. That is why resistance appears. At work, this shows up subtly. You will see colleagues who used to dominate conversations start checking your reactions. You speak less, but when you do, people listen. Not because your voice got louder, but because your words are not diluted by noise. Machiavelli would say that scarcity increases value. Your attention becomes scarce. Your approval becomes scarce. That changes everything. In relationships, dynamics shift even more. When you stop chasing clarity, people reveal it. Someone who was vague becomes direct or disappears. Someone who relied on your emotional labor feels the absence. This is not punishment, it is consequence, and consequence is the language of power. You may feel guilt at first. Guilt is the echo of old conditioning. You were taught that your worth comes from how much you give, how much you endure, how much you tolerate. When you stop doing that, the nervous system panics. It tells you that you are becoming selfish. Machiavelli would tell you that this voice is not morality, it is habit. Morality without strength collapses under pressure. That is another truth rarely spoken. Values only matter when you can enforce them. Otherwise, they are wishes. When you enforce your boundaries calmly, you are not becoming immoral. You are making your values real. You will also notice that some people grow closer to you. Not everyone leaves. Those who respect strength, clarity, and presence feel safer around you. They know where they stand. They don't need to manipulate. They don't need to test. Your consistency creates stability. This is how leaders emerge without trying to lead. Machiavelli believed that effective power is quiet. Loud power invites challenge. Quiet power invites calculation. When people calculate around you, it means you matter. When they ignore you, it means you are background. Your goal is not dominance. Your goal is significance. Pay attention to how you walk away from situations now. Before, walking away felt like loss. Now it feels like choice. When a conversation turns disrespectful, you disengage without drama. When an offer does not align with you, you decline without justification. When someone tries to pull you into chaos, you don't enter. This is not avoidance, it is selection. Selection is one of the highest forms of power. Choosing where to invest energy, time, and emotion is how you shape your environment. Machiavelli would argue that a ruler who fights every battle loses the war. You don't need to win every exchange. You need to protect your position. Another layer reveals itself when you apply these laws long enough. You stop needing validation entirely, not because you suppress the desire, but because you replace it with alignment. When your actions match your internal standards, external approval becomes optional. This is where most manipulation loses its grip. Think about how often praise was used to guide you. compliments for compliance, rewards for obedience, approval for self-sacrifice. When you detach from this system, people cannot steer you with carrots anymore. And when carrots fail, sticks appear: criticism, guilt, withdrawal. These are just different tools. Once you see them, they lose effectiveness. Machiavelli wrote that men judge more by the eye than by the hand, because everyone can see, but few can feel. In modern terms, people judge you by what you project, not what you intend. When you project calm authority, even without explaining yourself, people assume competence. When you project uncertainty, even with good intentions, people sense weakness. Projection is not acting, it is alignment. When your inner decisions are firm, your outer presence stabilizes naturally. You don't need to perform confidence, you need to reduce internal conflict. That conflict came from trying to please incompatible demands. Once you stop, your posture changes, your voice slows, your eyes stop scanning for approval. There will be moments when you are misunderstood. Accept this early. Misunderstanding is the cost of independence. When everyone understands you, it means you are fully predictable. Machiavelli would say that being fully predictable is dangerous. Mystery creates space. Space creates leverage. This does not mean being deceptive. It means not oversharing your intentions, fears, and plans. You don't announce your moves before making them. You don't seek consensus for decisions that are yours to make. You act, then let reality speak. As you move through this, you will notice something uncomfortable. You cannot go back. Once you see these dynamics, innocence is gone. You can still be kind, still be ethical, still be human, but you cannot pretend the game isn't there. This awareness is irreversible. That is why many people avoid it. They prefer the story that life is unfair and people are bad, rather than the reality that power dynamics exist and can be learned. Blaming the world feels easier than changing your behavior. Machiavelli would call that weakness disguised as virtue. Your task is not to become ruthless. It is to become precise. Precision is knowing when to speak and when to stay silent, when to engage and when to withdraw, when to give and when to withhold. Precision conserves energy. Wasted energy fuels chaos. Notice how your emotional life changes. You feel less dramatic highs and lows, less urgency, less anxiety. This calm is not emptiness. It is control. Control over your reactions, your time, your attention. Attention is the modern currency of power. Whoever controls your attention controls you. By reclaiming your attention, you reclaim your life. You stop doom scrolling to avoid decisions. You stop overthinking conversations that don't matter. You focus on actions that compound. Skill, health, strategy, these are long-term power investments. Machiavelli believed that fortune favors the prepared. Luck appears random, but it visits those with structure. When opportunity comes, you are ready because you are not scattered. You are not exhausted from managing everyone else's emotions. You are available for what matters. This is how these laws integrate into identity. You no longer ask, how do I look? You ask, does this align? You no longer ask, will they like this? You ask, is this necessary? These questions reshape your behavior quietly. Over time, your circle changes. Some relationships dissolve naturally, others deepen. You stop attracting users and start attracting collaborators. People who bring value, not just need. This is not luck. It is filtering. Filtering is an advanced form of power. You are no longer fighting bad dynamics. You are preventing them. That is the real shift Machiavelli pointed toward. The highest form of control is not force. It is structure. If you ever doubt this path, look at how calm you feel compared to before. Look at how rarely you feel cornered. Look at how often people adjust to you now. That is not arrogance, that is feedback. The world did not become nicer, you became clearer, and clarity is dangerous to those who rely on confusion. Carry this forward quietly. You don't need to announce your transformation. Let it show in how you move, how you decide, how you refuse to be rushed, guilted, or pulled off center. This is how you stop being used, not by fighting everyone, but by becoming someone who cannot be easily moved. As this way of thinking settles into you, another shift happens that most men don't expect. You stop craving certainty from other people. Before, you wanted reassurance. You wanted clear signals, quick replies, emotional confirmation. Not because you were weak, but because you were dependent on feedback to regulate yourself. Machiavelli would say that dependence is the doorway through which control enters. When you no longer need constant confirmation, people lose a major handle on you. They can no longer steer you with mixed signals, delayed responses, or emotional pressure. You begin to self-regulate. Your internal state becomes stable, and stability is intimidating to those who rely on chaos. You will notice how often people speak without saying anything. They complain, vent, dramatize, circle the same problems. Before you would engage, you would advise, empathize, absorb. Now you listen, but you don't carry it. You understand something critical. Not every problem is yours to solve. Not every emotion needs your reaction. Machiavelli understood that rulers who tried to fix everything personally burned out or lost control. Delegation, distance, and discernment were necessary. In your life, this means emotional delegation. You let people own their feelings. You don't rush to fix discomfort that isn't yours. This is where your presence changes. People feel less entitled to your energy. They sense a boundary that isn't spoken but felt. You are still respectful, still calm, but not porous. You don't leak yourself everywhere. There will be moments when someone tries to provoke you into breaking this. They will accuse you of being distant, cold, or changed. This is a test, not of your morality, but of your resolve. If you collapse and explain yourself, you return to the old role. If you stay grounded and consistent, the new dynamic locks in. Consistency is what makes power believable. Anyone can act strong once. Few can act aligned over time. Machiavelli emphasized reputation for this reason, not reputation built on words, but on repeated behavior. When people see that your boundaries do not shift under pressure, they adapt. Another layer becomes clear. You begin to see how often people confuse intensity with importance. Loud emotions, dramatic urgency, exaggerated stakes. These are often tactics, not truths. When you stop reacting to intensity, you force clarity. You slow the pace, you ask simple questions, or you say nothing at all. Silence, used correctly, is not passive. It is active restraint. It gives the other person space to expose their intent. People reveal more when you stop filling the air. Machiavelli understood interrogation without interrogation. Let others speak. Let them show their cards. This applies online as well. Social media thrives on reaction, outrage, validation, comparison. When you detach from this cycle, you reclaim mental territory. You stop performing for strangers. You stop measuring yourself against noise. You become internally referenced. Internal reference is one of the strongest psychological positions. It means your sense of worth and direction comes from your own standards, not external applause. This does not make you isolated, it makes you selective. As you become selective, your time opens up, not because you do less, but because you waste less. You stop engaging in arguments that go nowhere. You stop chasing closure from people who benefit from ambiguity. You stop explaining your choices to those who don't carry the consequences. Machiavelli would say that authority comes from alignment between decision and action. When you decide and act without hesitation or apology, people read certainty. Even if they disagree, they respect the firmness. This firmness also changes how you handle loss. Not every decision will work. Not every boundary will keep everyone. Some opportunities will disappear. Some people will leave. The old version of you would panic at this. The new version understands trade-offs. Power always involves sacrifice. You sacrifice comfort for clarity, approval for respect, immediate peace for long-term stability. Machiavelli never promised safety. He promised effectiveness. Effectiveness requires tolerating discomfort without self-betrayal. You will also notice how rarely you feel manipulated now, not because manipulation stopped existing, but because it requires emotional hooks you no longer provide. Guilt doesn't land. Urgency doesn't rush you. Praise doesn't inflate you. Criticism doesn't derail you. This emotional neutrality is not numbness, it is balance. Balance allows you to choose strategy over impulse. When you are insulted, you don't immediately defend. You assess. When you are flattered, you don't immediately comply. You assess. When you are threatened with loss, you don't panic. You assess. Assessment is the pause where power lives. Machiavelli believed that those who act purely from impulse are slaves to fortune. Those who pause can shape fortune. In modern life, fortune shows up as opportunity, timing, leverage. When you move too fast, you miss leverage. When you move with awareness, you create it. Another change occurs in how you see conflict. Conflict stops feeling like danger and starts feeling like information. Who escalates, who withdraws, who manipulates, who stays calm. These patterns tell you everything you need to know about future interactions. Instead of avoiding conflict at all costs, you allow it to clarify roles. You don't create it, but you don't fear it. This confidence alone reduces how often people challenge you. Predators look for easy targets, not grounded ones. You may also feel moments of loneliness. This is rarely talked about. When you stop being endlessly accommodating, some social warmth fades, not because you are wrong, but because you are no longer feeding certain dynamics. This is temporary, it is a transition. Over time, a different kind of connection appears. Fewer people, deeper alignment, less noise, more substance. Machiavelli would understand this as consolidation, reducing external threats and strengthening core alliances. You begin to trust yourself more, not because you are perfect, but because you have evidence. You see that you can handle discomfort. You can say no and survive. You can disappoint others and remain intact. This builds self-trust, which is the foundation of authority. Authority is not dominance, it is self-direction. When you direct yourself, others sense it. They may not articulate it, but they feel it. They adjust accordingly. As months pass, your default state becomes calm readiness, not passive, not aggressive, ready. You are aware of dynamics without being obsessed by them. You engage when it serves you. You withdraw when it doesn't. This is the Machiavellian middle ground, neither naive nor paranoid, clear-eyed, strategic, grounded. You will notice that advice from others starts to sound different. Much of it will feel irrelevant, well-meaning but misaligned. You learn to listen without absorbing, to consider without obeying. This independence of thought is rare. Rare things attract attention. Some positive, some negative. Stay steady. Attention is just another form of energy directed at you. You decide how much it gets. One of the final internal shifts is this. You stop seeing yourself as someone who needs to prove strength. You simply act from it. You don't posture, you don't threaten, you don't explain, you move. Machiavelli would say that the best power is the power that does not need to announce itself. When your behavior speaks consistently, words become optional. If you ever feel yourself slipping back into old patterns, don't panic. Awareness itself is leverage. Notice the urge to explain, pause, notice the urge to rush, delay, notice the urge to please, recenter. These micro-adjustments compound. This path is not about becoming feared. Fear is unstable. It invites rebellion. Respect is stable. It invites order. Machiavelli understood the balance. Fear without hatred. Authority without cruelty. Distance without abandonment. In your life, this translates to firmness without hostility, clarity without arrogance, boundaries without drama. You don't need to dominate rooms. You need to anchor them. Anchor yourself first. Everything else follows, and understand this deeply. The moment you stop being easy to control, you also stop being easy to save. No one will rescue you from your choices. That is not a flaw, that is adulthood. You now carry the weight of your decisions. That weight is power. Most people avoid it. You don't have to. Move forward quietly. Let your actions be few and precise. Let your words be measured. Let your presence be felt, not forced. This is how you live in a world of power without being consumed by it. This is how you remain human without being used. This is how you become, in the truest sense, the strategist.